more of our act together, even from world headquarters, like we have from KSCO.
Good. Yep.
You didn't laugh.
Let's do it.
You didn't laugh.
Well, no,
I
I
said
didn't.
like we have our act together at KSCO. You didn't laugh. I thought you would break up in hysterics.
Yeah, well, I got my act together. What can I do?
You do have your act together for sure. I don't have my act together. That's the problem here. What a week it's been, Jason Strubbe.
I know, so much crazy stuff.
The KSCO was under vicious attack from so many people. I guess I like to think that means we're doing something right, But who knows? Who knows, right? There was an article in the Good Times on Wednesday.
Yes.
And it was all about KSCO and, the Ome restaurant closing. They sort of connect us because I guess the only place the only free forum that people have to express themselves is KSCO, in our community. And I don't think many communities have KSCO-like stations. That's not to say that there aren't plenty of talk radio stations in the United States and plenty of independently owned ones. But I got to say, what sets us apart from all of the other stations, all of them that I don't know of any other station like KSCO anywhere in the world, in terms of the fact that we produce most of our own content, okay? Other radio stations act as conduits for programs for mega media companies, whether they're talk radio stations or music stations or whatever. Very, very few stations originate their own programming, as we do. And we have reason to be very proud of that. I mean, I sure am. And I think you are too, right?
Indeed, of course. Very much so.
And so when something happens where the restaurant is closed because people found out that the owner made a contribution to a David Duke campaign, a year or two ago, why do they come to us? Well, because they figured people are going to be talking about it on our station. When I say they, I'm talking about the media. And they're correct. We do talk about it on the radio station. Where else can people, have a discussion about things that are going on locally, regionally, nationally in real time? There aren't too many places. And in Santa Cruz, there's only one place. In the Monterey Bay Area, there's only one place that I know of, and that's KSCO, AM 1080 or FM 104.1 or what are the others? 95.5, 95 point, what is it? 7? 95.7 and 107 point. What is it, Jason? Help me out here. Are we still connected? I'm not hearing you anymore. So, anyhow, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm not hearing any backhaul at all. So we have a problem. I'm going to call you on the. I have no idea whether I'm on the air. I'm going to hit your control room here.
I was away from the desk for a second handling a issue.
Oh, okay. So I was on the air?
Yeah, you're on the air. Everything's good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So let's. Why don't we start the program officially here with our jingle?
Good morning. A brighter day is here. Good morning. May we bring you cheer.
We've got time, we've got tunes, we've got time, tunes, and temperature.
Get up and go, it's today, on KSCO Radio.
Hey, good morning, Monterey Bay, Silicon Valley. It's MZ welcoming you to hour number 1 of the KSCO Saturday Special. We're on remote from World Headquarters in San Francisco. Why do I call it World Headquarters? I don't know. I have a friend who used to own KSCO named J.J. Jeffrey, and he had his World Headquarters in a bar down the street from KSCO. My World Headquarters is in San Francisco because we plan to take over the media world up here in the city.
Good morning. Now stay right here on KSCO Radio.
Now, I don't know if we're going to succeed in providing quality talk radio to the Bay Area But we know for sure that we're not going to succeed if we don't try. There used to be a really popular talk radio station up here. There still is, but it's just not as popular as it used to be. I'm talking about KGO 810 on the dial. There's no other station in the country that was number one. It was at the top of its game for 35 straight years, right? Number one in the market for 35 straight years. The closest second to that was number one in its market for maybe a year or a year and a half or something like that. Anyhow, that all came to an end in December of 2011. And it was a good thing for us because a lot of the KGO listeners who could receive us, you know, they started spinning the dial because their favorite station was essentially gone. It was gutted of all the great hosts that made it the wonderful station that it was. So the company that owned KGO at the time, and still does now actually, Cumulus Media, gave the audience a reason to unglue their dial from 810, and they started scanning to see something else, and a lot of the people found us. So thank you, Cumulus, for giving us a huge infusion of listeners starting in December of 2011, and I think it's been growing since then. But what's been happening to the talk radio industry in general? Oh my God, a lot of things. When I purchased the station in 1991, talk radio was just coming into its own. Limbaugh had only been on the air, syndicated nationally, for less than 3 years, maybe 2.5 years at the time, and because of that, something, I guess it was the Gulf War. People started tuning in, and the demographics for talk radio started dropping. In other words, the age group of people. Traditionally, talk radio has been an older person demographic. But starting in the early 90s, younger people started tuning in to talk radio, primarily because of the Limbaugh experience, or the Limbaugh phenomenon, I guess, which continues to this day. And that's the main reason why we continue to have Rush as one of our only syndicated programs that we have on KSCO. So many people that I've asked over the years, they say they like the radio station. Well, how did you discover us? I was switching the dial, I was spinning the dial, and I came across Rush, and I left it there. And after Rush, I started appreciating and liking your local programming and so forth. So it's been a formula that's worked pretty well for all these years. But lately, the station has been under fire from some people who feel that we have not exercised the responsibility, the broadcaster's responsibility that we should have, by not muzzling discussion on very sensitive and controversial topics, such as racism.
I love that word, by the way, muzzle.
And anti-Semitism, right? Now, it's no secret that I'm Jewish. My family's Jewish. We're very Zionist Jews, which means that all Zionism is the strong belief that the Jews have their own homeland. That's all it means. It means nothing else. Okay? And increasingly, there are people out there who are painting Zionists as very, very bad people, almost like Nazis. And it makes zero sense at all. It makes no sense at all right? And that's been a very sore subject for me for many years. And recently, I guess it's become less of a sore subject for me, because I guess I've decided to, if I'm going to hold KSCO and myself out to be, an advocate for the First Amendment and free speech, and I'm going to start censoring people because it gets too close to home, or I don't like what they're saying about Jews or the state of Israel or whatever, it sort of flies in the face. I mean, as difficult as it is for me to hear some of this stuff, I don't feel like I should be censoring it. Anyhow, back in 1993, I'd only had the radio station for just over 2 years. I happened to be, it was a Saturday afternoon, and I was at the radio station, doing some work, and we had a guest host on. His name was Keith Thompson. And he did a radio program, it was a current events type thing, I guess. And he started reading this letter that had been written criticizing the radio station, criticizing KSCO and me in particular for censoring callers. And he read that letter on the air and then asked me to come in and answer that letter. And my mother happened to be listening to that that segment. She happened to have the radio turned on, and she called me afterwards, and she said, "You made me so proud, Michael." I said, so I decided I was gonna. I went looking for that clip, and I found it. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play that clip. It's pretty interesting. It's what is it? It's from 1993. So that makes it 24 years old. Okay, now let's see if I can get this playing right here. Okay.
Accountable to parents.
Okay. This is
Pajaro Valley School District
11 minutes long.
Poorly if they had vouchers.
This is from KSCO, June 12th, 1993. So have a listen.
Welcome back to the Saturday afternoon segment on KSCO. I'm here with Michael Zwirling, station manager. And Michael, does KSCO censor callers? That was what Billy from La Selva Beach said.
No, but what KSCO does do is ban callers who have repeatedly failed to live by the rules. And we do have certain rules around here. Now, I have not heard your program, unfortunately, today, Keith, but I assume the subject is on censorship.
It's about the top 25 stories that Project Censored determined to be censored.
Right.
And covert as well as direct censorship in the media, how it works.
Right. I am one of the Jews who controls the media that people talk about. Okay? Now, I'm not I'm proud that I'm Jewish, and I have chosen not to allow KSCO to be utilized as a forum for Palestinians who want to see me and my people destroyed. And as the licensee of KSCO, I have the right to do that. Now, if you want to call that censorship, not being willing to provide a forum, then I guess KSCO does practice censorship or a form of it. As far as the caller, or the former caller, Millie, is concerned, when you are the owner of a radio station, you are charged with doing the best you know how to do to serve the public interest, convenience, and necessity. And I determined when I bought KSCO that this station was going to be a news talk radio station, and that we were going to be open to viewpoints all across the political spectrum. And I think that we've done a very good job of being open to viewpoints from all across the political spectrum. It hurts me when people call, it's a particular sore subject, when KSCO is used as a free forum to promote something that I don't feel like writing the check for, okay? Now, as far as Millie is concerned, she knows the rules very well, that we don't have many rules here at KSCO, but we have a caller frequency rule. And this kind of rule has been practiced by very successful news talk stations, and that being to limit a certain number of limit a particular caller to a certain number of calls per week, maybe once a week or whatever. And that's what our rule is here at KSCO. It has not been particularly well enforced, particularly on weekends when we have different call screeners who are not really aware that somebody might have been on already. But personally, I feel that what makes for better radio is for there to be a broad diversity of callers. And if you have the same people calling over and over and over again, Millie gets upset if you don't let her on 10 times during the same program. I mean, she has absolutely nothing to do with her life but get on and call a talk show. She can't, she's not happy even just listening to talk. There it goes. I bet that's Millie right now. She's not going to get on. She's been banned. And guess what, Millie? I have the right and the power to do that.
And Mr. Berliner is not going to throw you off the air for doing that.
Right.
Although he's looking down and saying, Michael, I don't have a problem with that anymore. And there's certain issues that don't matter.
Yeah. So in any case, I'm sure the Palestinian issue will be discussed on KSCO. It has been. Sure. I don't choose to provide a forum to any one particular political point of view. I really don't. And if they want to do that, I guess they can call me up and talk about buying an hour of time, and then I guess I'll have a decision to make whether or not I want the station to be utilized that way. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and allow somebody to come on and espouse a particular political point of view that happens to be diametrically opposed to mine on my radio station that I work very, very hard to own and run and maintain and do with integrity. When there are plenty of other media outlets for people to get that point across.
Well, they also have recourse too in the licensing process.
That's correct.
Which is they can go to Washington when your license is up for renewal.
Yes, if people feel that I have not operated this station with integrity, then they can certainly file against me. They can file against the renewal of the license when that time comes. And in this case, it happens to be quite a number of years from now. Okay. Yeah. Hope I've answered your question.
Well, you did, and
if you have anything to add to that, I'd be happy to.
Nothing comes to mind. I wanted to bring this up, and I was going to run it by you before, and I thought no, because I know you're here. I'm going to read this letter. The letter was well stated. It wasn't incendiary. I mean, it stated her point, and I felt it would give. Maybe you found it so. But you're here, and you could respond. And I wanted to show that if I never show up here again on another show, then there's probably censorship at KSCO. But no, you've made your response. We've dealt with it on the air.
Well, yeah. If I'd like you to show up again, Keith. But and I think that shows that there is not censorship on KSCO. But I also want to, before we leave the subject here, there was another point that was made in Millie's letter, because she uttered the letters KGO.
What's that about? Yeah.
Yeah, we have another rule that we do not want other radio stations to be talked about or promoted on KSCO. This is a commercial enterprise, and we don't want it to be used for people to call up and say, listen to so-and-so on the other radio station. Because when people listen to so-and-so on the other radio station, they can't be listening to us, and we need them to listen to us for the ratings to reflect that we are a well-listened-to radio station. It's just a fact of life. So if that seems like a form of censorship, I have to respectfully disagree. I don't think that's a form of censorship. I think that's good business. I don't choose to provide a free commercial for the competitor, for the competition, and I don't think that negatively reflects on my integrity, nor makes me a practitioner of censorship. Do you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let me ask you about something that comes to mind. It's kind of touched on today. I got a call from someone who was commending me for my balanced perspective. I've other callers who call when a conservative is on is saying, thank goodness there's finally a conservative on.
Yeah.
When Eric Scheck is on, someone will call and say, thank goodness there's someone who's more liberal on. Have you added up the hours here? Is this a left-wing station? Is it a right-wing station? Is it an in-between station?
Well, I always like to
measure
believe that it's an in-between station, but recently I've been pretty much convinced that it's a left-wing station, at least as far as the local talk talent is concerned. It's been pointed out to me a long time ago by the chief of police, as a matter of fact, in the city of Santa Cruz, that KSCO has sold out to the left. And my response was, wait a minute, how can a station that has 3 hours of Rush Limbaugh 5 days a week have possibly sold out to the left? Something's wrong with this picture. And the answer, I don't know if it was from the chief, but from other people that have talked about this subject to me, have pointed out that Rush does not talk about local Monterey Bay issues normally on his radio program, right. Nor is he effectively possible to contact, to interact with, because he's carried on over 600 radio stations, and if you've ever tried to call the 800 number, it's always busy. I mean, it's almost impossible to get through. So as far as interactive local news talk is concerned, I would say that KSCO is very definitely at this point in time slanted toward the left, and I want to do something about it because I don't think it's fair.
What about...
It's not moving in the direction that I planned for KSCO. I'm trying my best to do a balancing act with skill and integrity, and sometimes things get out of hand, or you can't please everybody all the time. We know that, but we're going to try to do our best, and we're going to continue. But I have made certain determinations that, in my estimation, certain things constitute good programming and certain things constitute bad programming. And the number one thing, in my estimation, that constitutes bad programming is the same people calling time in and time out. And when you sit here and the same people call you, you appreciate their calling, but you probably would wish there were some more people calling, wouldn't you?
Well, if I were here every day and got only the same people, I recognize some of the callers from other shows, so they're new to me. But hey, we're about out of time. We're going to the Oakland A's in Minnesota, or at least they're playing Minnesota today. I don't know if it's in California or in Minnesota. It has been a pleasure trying to tap into this huge subject of censorship, and I appreciate your coming on, Michael, at the end to provide a local focus. And I'm sorry that we won't have any time for any more callers on the air, so next time, bye. No. I've got more time.
Steve,
after all.
What does this mean?
We've got more time than we thought. Do we have time for a call? We probably don't.
No, we have a minute. 30 seconds.
You know what, let me touch on something.
30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds. One of the things that makes it hard to break the thing down is Eric Scheck will sometimes talk about national stuff. Dave Allen will talk about national stuff. Right. Rush Limbaugh will talk about local around the country. Right. So the national-local thing breaks down a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately. And so, I don't know, we do the best we can. I don't know what else to say other than that. We're trying to get more local talk show hosts that will talk about local issues.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Steve, does that mean... Oh, now we have 5 seconds, okay?
Or is he just waving with his right hand? I think we're out of time. I'm Keith Thompson, and it's been great being here. Thanks a lot. See you next week.
I don't know if you thought that was as interesting as I did. A 23-year-old clip of a segment that happened on a Saturday afternoon on KSCO, June 12th, 1993, talking about censorship.
And now let's go to Colonel Terry on line 1. Just kidding.
Oh.
I'm just playing.
Because I have it on the... I don't show that we have any callers. We're certainly going to invite them, 479-1080. That's in area 831. If you have a comment of what you heard. And if not, it's fine. I got a lot to say. We don't even need to have any phone callers today. I've got so much to talk about. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to invite callers if they think that they have something to say that would add to the program.
And I'm looking for your other camera.
479-1080, or and that's in area 831, or email, mz at ksco.com. Pardon me. So, all right, why are we doing this? Why are we focusing on censorship? Why did I play that 23-year-old clip that I've been, meaning to dig out of the archives and find it somewhere? I found it this morning. Well, a lot of people have been on me in the last few weeks to say, well, you shouldn't necessarily censor, but there's got to be a line. There's got to be a line drawn in the sand here, and if someone oversteps that line, they should be punished, or that they should be removed from their host status on KSCO and so forth. And it sort of bothered me a bit, because that's true. There is a line, but what is that line, and what should that line be? Okay, I've been struggling with that, but I'm beginning to see the light here, because I remembered this clip that I just played for you, and I've sort of reflected upon the last 23 years. And obviously we've gotten a whole less anal about mentioning other call letters, because mentioning KGO's call letters or any other call letters is not going to hurt us. It just isn't. I look at things a little differently. And I suppose it could be said that I look at things a little differently about, people calling up and taking the side of the Palestinians or the anti-Israeli side. How can I be an advocate for free speech if I'm gonna restrict things like that on the station that I happen to own? The answer is I can't, and much as it hurts to hear me hear things like that, it's all part of integrity, I think. Anyhow, we do have a few callers, so let's see if.
Hold on one second. I gotta
what?
Do a quick thing here. And by the way, I'm looking for your other camera too.
Am I going to be playing those other YouTube clips, or are you?
Because I can, but you can as well. Either
you decide. But if you're gonna get a second video feed, then we can't use the other iPhone for because we'd have to use that for the video instead of for this audio that I want to play. So if you want to fire up and have two cameras for the video stream, then you're going to have to play the other two clips from YouTube about Israel. All good
That's
stuff
fine.
about Israel.
I've got those queued up.
You got them queued up? Okay, so go ahead and ping the other iPhone here, and I'll
the
say
ZBS
yes.
phone.
Right. Okay, are we all set to take phone calls?
We're good to
now,
go
Jason?
for callers.
All right, Dave in Santa Cruz, you're the first caller to the Saturday special today. Hi, Dave.
Oh, hi, Michael. I'm honored. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Okay, you bet.
First of all,
thanks for calling.
Yeah, you're welcome. First of all, I just really want to tell you how much I love your channel. I listen to it all around the clock at different times, and I might not agree with everything, but I love your station. I think it's one of the greatest things our county has, and thank you, because I know it's not an easy thing for you to do as a business.
Well, yeah, there has been some news stories about how how difficult it is to keep KSCO. We could run KSCO for way less than it costs us to run it, but it wouldn't be the station with the heart and the soul and the character and the personality that it has. If I can't have that kind of a station, I'll go and do something else. I'll be in a different business,
Yeah,
so,
and it's got all that and more.
Right. Gee, well, thank you.
I mean it from my heart. I'm an avid listener, and originally I thought you guys were kind of too conservative for me, and over the time I've become what I consider a political atheist, where I don't believe in the right-left paradigm, and then I'm really a truth seeker, and all the time I'm listening to your channel, I feel totally in line with that mission from you guys. You represent the left, you represent the right, you have such a great balance that I wouldn't worry about it at all. And I'm really critical because, I'll listen to Rush, I'll listen to Alex Jones, I'll listen to some of the other programs you have, and you're always spot on with your equal voice in both sides of things.
Yeah, great. Well, that's what we strive to be, and I appreciate that you appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Dave. Okay.
Right,
thanks for calling 479-1080. Take next, that would be Mike in Corralitos. Hi, Mike. Welcome to KSCO. You're on.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Hey, a couple of things. And thanks for this subject you're bringing up, because in all honesty, I've often wondered, I've heard you personally in the heat of the moment and, in passionate speech, call people idiots. over the
Yeah,
airwaves.
sometimes I lose it. Yeah, and I did that recently within the last 2 or 3 weeks.
So I'm not even talking about that one. I'm not talking about. Well, yeah, you did call her. So
it was terrible. It was terrible. Anyway, I felt like an idiot myself because I was. So
but anyway, passion is passion. But and then I see that, and then I actually, I've often wondered, wow, there's someone on your station really disparaging Benjamin Netanyahu, Jews, in ways that, like, whoa, I just, you must be a true walker in what you believe because on what you're allowing, at the free speech aspect of it. Because I don't even know if would your mom, I mean, how did she and would she react to some of the stuff that's said on the radio station? And I commend you because I really commend what you're doing and everything. And Mom and Dad built me. They constructed me, and they gave me the values that I have. And growing up, we were, by the way, politically, we were very different. I mean, my parents used to insist that us three kids, I and my brother Lou and my sister Regina, the older than I, be NAACP members, right? And be ACLU members. I mean, they were pretty liberal people, my folks were, and we grew up being pretty liberal. But for me, that changed in 1979 when I've told this story before, so some people are going to be bored, I guess. I'll just tell it real quickly. My politics changed pretty quickly in 1979 when I went through a design review process to get a building permit for a property that I was here. I'm hearing some noise that I'd rather not hear. I'm going to put Mike on hold in case that noise is coming from his end here. In 1979, I tried to build a house, and I did. It was on Escalona Drive. It was on a steep lot, and I had to go through a city design review process where there was a zoning board of 5 people. I don't think maybe one of them could even understand a set of drawings or read it and understand what they were seeing. But they were there to arbitrate taste. And I just thought that was horrible. They were actually empowered to tell me what color I was allowed to paint my house and what materials it was to be composed of. This was in 1979. And that changed my perspective, my political perspective, and I became a decidedly more conservative person back then. And I over the years I watched the term liberal take on a different meaning. Liberal used to be free thinking, used to connote, the notion of free thinking, open to different points of view. Now, it's totally the opposite. Liberals are the most intolerant, least free-thinking humans on the planet these days. And I don't know how or when it happened, but it was a long-term thing, right? And a lot of people now, who would have been happy to be called liberal years ago, would be ashamed and embarrassed, And their political views in a lot of cases haven't even changed. It's very, very fascinating. In any case, let's go to our next caller now. That would be Betsy in Santa Cruz. Hey, Betsy, welcome to KSCO. You're on with MZ.
Hi, MZ. I just want to tell you how much we appreciate you and your station, and we're praying for you, and we're putting the word out of what you guys are up against right now. And thank you just for being an advocate of free speech in this sea of communism. Not even liberalism, it's more communism. And I wanted to let you know and encourage your other listeners to support you financially. I'm going to come down before the end of the show and make a $20 contribution, and I plan on giving you
very nice. Thank
$20
you.
$20 a month, and hopefully I'll be able to even increase that, but I'll start at $20 a month. And I want to encourage anybody else who is within the who's hearing my voice right now to
That's so sweet, because we are we're targeted. We're in the crosshairs of the people who closed down Ome Restaurant. Now, I haven't made any donations to David Duke's campaign, nor would I. But the very fact that we have a particular talk host whose name is Georgia, who people have been complaining about for many months, but now it's overwhelming. Probably because of the Good Times article. There are probably a lot of people tuning in to KSCO and Georgia's program in particular now as a result of that article that came out this week. I thought it was very well done, and I told the I told the co-writers that they had done. Matt is one of the people, and Jake is another. That Matt and Jake were the writers, and I thought they did a good job. Other people around the radio station say the Good Times article was an absolute positive hit piece against KSCO, designed to make us look bad, and I think they did a good job. So, to each his own. And I understand there may well be a follow-up article coming up in the next issue that comes out next week, I think, because I spent the better part of a half hour yesterday on a follow-up because what they were talking about is they wanted to know what the limit is. At what point would even I decide, hey, this isn't right, and I don't want to be a part of this, and to continue, to support this particular host or this particular idea would show that would not be good. Would not be good for the reputation of the radio station. So I don't know. I'm thinking about that, and I've been thinking about it a lot. I have some thoughts that I'll share later on in the program. But go ahead, Betsy. What you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I read the article, and I was wondering, did you think it was a successful hit piece on KSCO?
No, I don't think so. A hit piece is to me is something that is written with bias, to change people's minds. And I think that the reporters did a good job of reporting the story. And the story is, it's not only Ome Restaurant that was in the news recently for closing because of connections with, purported racism or alleged racism or something like that, but now there's another local business that happens to be the KSCO radio station that people are targeting. And I do believe that people are targeting us. I think there are a lot of people in Santa Cruz and in the Monterey Bay area who would like nothing more than for KSCO to die, so that there could be no free speech forum that's real time. When you write a letter to the letters to the editor of a publication, you don't know whether they're going to put that letter in, and if they do put it in, it might not be the same letter that you wrote. The editor might have just pulled the most important thing out of it, or might have changed some words around. We don't do that. We don't edit anything. When people call, we put them on the air, and if they're civil and they don't and they don't slander somebody and they don't make ridiculous hateful remarks. Now that's where a lot of people say that I'm not strict enough, because we have a lot of hateful people on KSCO, including Rush, including Georgia, including Michael Savage, including Alex Jones. And I respectfully disagree. However, I am thinking very seriously now about what the line would be for me. There's got to be a limit to. It's like I hate to use that sickening, hackneyed expression, yelling fire in a crowded theater. That is not considered protected by the free speech, Mm-hmm. So true hateful speech, like calling a talk show and saying so and so is no good, I hate his guts, and I hope he dies, or I wish someone would kill him or her or whatever. That's of course that crosses the line with me. And if I had a host who was advocating violence or death or bad things on people, I would think very seriously, or maybe not even have to think even for a second about pulling the switch on pulling that host off the air. and not wanting to be part of it.
So what about hosting, a debate where, the people from Good Times, the writers for Good Times, the man from Omey, and where everybody could be represented on a panel, and we could televise
We'd love to do it. We'd love to do it. And, getting people scheduled for a panel is like herding cats. But the word is out, and the word is out to Roger, the owner of Omey, who is welcome to call in or welcome to be a guest here. It's no secret that I don't care for the man, and he doesn't care for me, but it doesn't matter. He has a point of view that he is welcome to use KSCO to get out there. Okay,
and that's what I really appreciate about you, MZ, and the station in particular, is because you don't have to group think. It's people can be individuals and have differing opinions, and I believe that they're given a platform and for commentary and for consideration. And I think for the most part, and I listen to KSCO all the time, for the most part, it's extremely respectful broadcasting. Even when you're talking about Michael Savage or Alex, they get heated, but they are not calling for anyone's assassination. They're not, like what you were saying.
And there are probably some other things too. There are probably some other things that I would consider crossing the line. So I'm giving that an awful lot of thought these days. Hey, Betsy, thanks very much for calling 479-1080. Good to hear from you, and we invite other people to call, or you can, if you don't want to talk, you can get through, be part of the program by emailing mz@ksco.com. Here's Mike in Corralitos about free speech. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Michael, I didn't get to finish what I was saying, but anyway, real quick, because I know you got other callers. I just want to thank you, because politically, when we all want to go back and forth with politics, we search ourselves, and I would say we're all a little bit hypocritical, when it comes down to it. But I see no hypocrisy in what you've been doing, and I really admire that, because it takes a lot to do what you're doing, standing up like you are.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Mike. Here comes Rory in Watsonville. Hey, Rory.
Michael, thanks for taking my call.
It's turned into a love fest again. I love these love fests, but it's enough already. We love you too. I want to invite other people to call who hate our guts and want us to die.
Well,
479-1080. Let's see if anybody will call up. So,
yeah, hopefully some people.
I know they're out there. I know there's a lot of them out there. So why don't some of them call in now? And I promise I will be respectful and not lose it.
You have true free speech. Nobody screens your calls other than you can't swear. That's it. You can say your piece. Now, put the shoe on the other foot. What if I didn't want to hear communists, and I saw people at protests, and they had pre-printed placards that said revcom.org, and I went and looked at it, and that's the Revolutionary Party, Communist Party, USA. What if I could outlaw them and just put them away and say, no, you guys are totally against the U.S. Constitution and representative republic. You want a commie government. No, we don't want to hear from you. Would that be fair?
That would be good for the country.
Well, but you don't want to...
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
I know you are. But for those that don't get the joke, we don't want to stifle speech, okay? Other than somebody advocating crime...
But the people who want KSCO to go away do want to stifle speech.
I know, but they're stuck in a bubble. That's their problem. I mean, I agree. Like, Georgia stays on this white privilege issue, and the anti-whiteness. It's happening. I see it. I hear it. I pay attention to a lot of literature. Okay, it's everywhere, and these are what are they? Little commie shock troops? I don't know. I joke with people. I ask my friends like you, Michael, did you pick up a white privilege check here recently? Are you on the mailing list to get white privilege checks? This stuff is everywhere. I've even sent articles about some of the teaching schools, like at Columbia, they had a seminar over the summer about how to deal with white privilege in the classroom. It's none of their damn business. Just leave people alone. It's like the guest that Michael Wilson had she's on a Guggenheim Fellowship writing a book about strawberry farming back in Boston, taking a year off. She doesn't know her butt from a hot rock when it comes to what's driving anything in strawberry farming. But she's in her ivory tower throwing out these postulates. Well, she's a community studies professor. Well, why don't you go start a strawberry farm or actually go pick some berries and learn about what people are going through instead of postulating? These are, and it's like what you ran into in 1979. You got a design commission of people that own their butt from a hot rock. And it's not our system.
That's exactly right. They did not know their butt from a hot rock. And I gave them a test.
I remember you back in those early days. When you had the station, you were hot on that subject. And I had just moved to Watsonville. So the thing is, let's have speech, folks. Don't be so thin-skinned. You don't like what Georgia says? Call in and challenge her.
Or don't listen. But don't try to silence.
And who owns the good time?
I've been getting lots of emails from reasonable people about Georgia lately. Lots of them. From not reactionary people, saying, and this is why I'm really thinking about what is it that Georgia could say where I would be irresponsible for not pulling the plug on her? And I'm thinking
what are the reasonable questions right now that you're getting that's making you even question it? Give me one example.
That the Holocaust didn't happen. I got a
she
very
didn't say that. I listened.
I got a very disturbing email from someone who supposedly heard her say that or not argue with a caller who did say that. And you know what? I haven't had time, but I will make the time to go back and listen.
Yeah,
and I will say that does cross the line with me. I will say that, and I'll say that to everybody right now.
Yeah.
If I hear any one of my hosts, you can't do much about a caller, nor would I want to, except who calls in and says the Holocaust didn't happen. But if I hear one of those hosts say that on KSCO, that host will not be on KSCO ever again.
Okay. Well, I don't think she said it. She did let a caller talk, and that's fine. If I called up and I wanted to say the moon's made out of blue cheese, the thing is, we all know, I know, the Holocaust against the Jews is a historic fact. Even General Eisenhower told one of his photographers to take lots of pictures. And he said, why am I taking so many pictures? He said, because some SOB is going to come in the future and say this didn't happen. That's why we have a lot of photographs of the dead bodies. My grandfather's first cousin, as an Italian diplomat in Salonika, Greece, stuck his neck out to turn Jews into Catholic Greeks or whatever national, I forget what.
Yeah, my grandmother, Kay's mother, Nana, we call her, Rebecca Russo. She was born in Salonika.
See, I'm going to share that. I'm going to send you a story about my grandfather's first cousin, Giuseppe Castruccio, and what he did in the face of the SS. Because if you could get their identities changed, get them on trains to Athens, the Italians controlled Athens, you could get out. But if you got on that train going north, there was no assurance you're ever coming back. So I personally heard him talk about it. I've seen the historic documentation. We know it happened.
Yeah,
but somebody wants to
and
call
I guess
in
I'll
and say
go.
it doesn't
I guess
happen.
I'll go a step further. So I guess I'm becoming a censor in KSCO little by little. I guess I'm going to go a step further from what I said before, Rory.
It's yours.
To me, that is so. It is so effing offensive to hear someone say that the Holocaust did not happen. History, trying to write what they call revisionist history.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a step further and say, if I don't hear one of my hosts, if they don't espouse it themselves, if they get a call who espouses it, if they don't take issue with that caller, that host is gone too. How do you like that?
Well, you listen to the call. I don't know I don't think Georgia, I think she let them talk, which I would do, because I want to hear what people have to say, and then let other callers call in and deal with it. And I think that's the beauty of the free speech dynamic. Let's hear all sides. If somebody calls up with a load of baloney, let the other callers or the host deal with it. So you got to do what you got to do. It's your radio station, and I think it's good to expose flawed thinking and then deal with it. So,
yeah, I can't be a party. I can't be a party to that kind of. So I am. But all this thought is very good for me because it's giving me an answer for the reporters who say to me, well, don't you have a limit, MZ? There's got to be some sort of limit.
Well,
let me think about it. And I thought about it a lot, and that's one of the limits right there.
Yeah.
The Holocaust didn't happen. Guess what? It happened.
It happened. We know it happened. And it wasn't just the Jews. They went after gypsies. They went after all kinds of people. The Holocaust, not that Holocaust, but a Holocaust continues today. We abort millions of babies every year in this country. It happens. Yeah. There's a lot of people
Rory,
dying.
thank you so much. I've got a bunch of people calling here. Sure, go ahead.
One last thing?
Yeah.
Check out the Jones's program Monday when Steve Pachenik upbraided him on the radio. It's good radio. It's worth. I think it was the third hour.
Last Monday's Alex Jones show, third hour.
Yeah, I think third hour. He called Steve Pachenik, who was a former NSA guy, and he just ripped Alex a new one on the air. And Alex, to his credit, didn't hang up on him or cut him off. He let him talk. But it was good. It was riveting radio. The other last thing is, who's paying the good times away? How do those guys make money? Who's supporting them? We got to ask those. You should ask those guys that question. I want to know the perspective. They run in the traditional way, as far as I know. They sell advertising, and I think they sell a lot more of it than we do. Oh, maybe so. I know. I know that's a challenge, but I want to know that.
Were you bothered that you would ask that question? Signifies to me, or indicates to me, that you think that you must have thought that was a hit piece on KSCO, huh?
Some of it was. Some of it was inaccurate. I think. Okay. I don't think. I mean. All
right, we got to go. Thank you, Roy. Steve, Aaron, Alexia, and Mary. Hold on. We'll get you on KSCO first part of next hour. KSCO Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. It's 11 a.m. Here's the news.
A huge police investigation continues into Friday's terror attack on a London Underground train that injured 29 people. CBS's Larry Miller has more from London.
British Home Secretary Amber Rudd says the arrest of an 18-year-old man is a major breakthrough in the hunt for the terrorist who planted a bomb on a London subway.
This is a very significant arrest, but the operation is ongoing.
As Rudd was speaking, armed police raided a house in southwest London they say is linked to the suspect. Scotland Yard Chief Cressida Dick.
It's a very fast-moving investigation.
London is tense. Soldiers are on the streets. A security alert closed the Fulham Broadway subway station, just one stop away from Friday's attack. Larry Miller, CBS News, London.
The peace has held in Richmond, Virginia today for the most part as a group rallied in support of the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee and was vastly outnumbered by counter-protesters. CBS's Paula Reed is in Richmond.
You have a very heavy police presence. They've been here since early this morning, and they're taking a lot of precautions. Even though this was a rally that didn't actually have a formal permit, they have basically blocked off certain areas where you can protest.
No arrests, no injuries have been reported. The president's in New Jersey prepping for his speech Tuesday to the United Nations General Assembly. CBS's Errol Barnett says there will be fewer American diplomats at the UN for this event than in years past.
The White House has ordered the State Department to reduce its diplomatic footprint at the UNGA, which says a lot itself. There will be fewer U.S. representatives from the State Department this year in New York than last year, and Secretary Tillerson himself has said that he will be attending fewer meetings and he will have a diminished presence.
U2 canceling its concert in St. Louis tonight after police said they couldn't provide the usual amount of security. This after hundreds marched Friday when a judge acquitted a white former St. Louis police officer in the 2011 shooting death of a black suspect. Protests are expected to continue today. Saturday means college football at campuses across the country, but that's not the case at one Florida university.
I'm Peter King at the University of Central Florida. Normally, this parking lot would be filled with tailgaters for today's football game, but instead, Spectrum Stadium is hosting the National Guard. As many as 1,000 members passing through or processing food, water, and other supplies headed to Southwest Florida and the Keys. Players have been helping too. Athletic Director Danny White says it's a growing up experience.
Yeah, no question. I think for all of us, I grew up a little bit at 1 a.m. when that hurricane was coming through, and it's a learning experience for everyone.
Today's game against Memphis has been rescheduled.
And Hurricane Jose is still churning out in the Atlantic. Now it's a Category 1 storm. The National Hurricane Center's Robbie Berg says that the East Coast needs to keep its eye on Jose.
Once the storm approaches, then we would start to see an increase in heavy rainfall. possibly tropical storm force winds, especially along the immediate coastline as we get into the middle part of the week.
This is CBS News.
I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, where you can get the world's most comfortable sheets for less than half of what you'd pay in the store. Our sheets are made from 100% organic cotton and get softer over time. Even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll & Branch sheets. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
You're listening to It must be, it has to be, with that big sound it's gotta be KSCO.
You're listening to KSCO, serving Monterey, Brookdale, and San Lucas.
Good morning, you're listening to AM 1080, FM 104.1 here in Santa Cruz, 107.9 in San Jose, 95.7 FM Salinas, Watsonville, KSCO.com, 1340 KOMY, La Selva Beach, and our archive, ZBSradio.com. We are also streaming live right now on YouTube at the KSCO Global channel. Please subscribe. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Just 5 minutes past 11 a.m. on a beautiful Saturday morning. Let's get a quick look at your traffic. Closure of a road, Graham Hill at Old Graham Hill Road in Santa Cruz County. Also a traffic hazard, 1 northbound at Casa Verde. Chair in number 2 lane and guitar smashed into pieces also in the number 2 lane. Looks like that's at Gore Point in Monterey County. Also a traffic hazard, 85 southbound at Bernal Road off-ramp. Reported just a minute ago or so. Looks like some kind of object in the carpool lane. Keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, your roadways look pretty much clear out there on the Central Coast for now. Weather, we'll have a nice sunny afternoon with mild temperatures, 60s and 70s. Cloudy overnight with the low in the mid-50s. Sunny tomorrow and mild again with a high near 70. We'll have high winds up to 25 miles per hour today and tomorrow. Your boaters forecast for the Monterey Bay today. Northeast winds 5 knots, becoming west 10 to 20 knots in the afternoon. Wind waves 1 to 3 feet. Northwest swell 3 feet at 8 seconds. Patchy fog in the morning. If you guys want to get your longevity on, this weekend is the weekend to do it. We are stocked up. Dave is in the cave right now. He'll be here till 2. I'll be here after that today and tomorrow. Dave's out there hooking it up with bone and joint packs, brain and heart packs, blood sugar packs, books, CDs, DVDs. He's even got a free catalog for you. Find out more about the pig pack as well. Come on down 2300 Portola Drive. You will not regret it. It's 11:08. Time for hour 2 of the Saturday special right here on your favorite station, KSCO.
Yeah, hey, Jason, did anybody check with Dave in the cave to find out how business is doing today?
I haven't found out yet. I've seen a couple people out there already, though.
Okay, yeah, we definitely want. I mean, now is he doing? I told him to pull out all the stops. We gotta bump it up. We made a big mistake by announcing 2 or 3 months back that the Dave Cave was going to be closing.
Yeah, really.
Because we wanted to switch. We wanted to switch around to maybe 10 strategically located retail stores around the KSCO listening area. And
yes.
we should have gotten those up and running first and then say the Dave Cave is closed because people
exactly.
stopped coming.
Yep.
So now, I told Dave, do whatever you need to do. And maybe, for all I know, if we're selling a lot, maybe Dave said that we'll pay you to come and take the product. I don't know. I'm only kidding. I mean, maybe. Find out, okay?
Let's hear from him right now. He's actually at my side right here.
Oh, good. Dave. Dave. Dave.
Hey, MZ.
Hi, Dave. How's business?
Business is going a little. Actually, it's not too bad right now. People just don't know how much stuff we have out there. MZ, I got a shipment in, which means that now we have your brain and heart packs as well as your bone and joint. That means we have the CM cream along with the gluco gel. We've got Ultimate Daily. We've also got plant-derived minerals, selenium, sweeties, OsteoFX, liquid, and powder. We got information on the pig pack, free catalogs, books, CDs, DVDs. I've even got Flight 1080 sweatshirts out there. We've got
oh my God, I want to get one of those when I get back from World Headquarters, which will probably be in the next day or two. Oh,
yeah, I
you
got
have one that would fit me. It's pretty big.
Well, I have some more on the way, but right now I have double and triple X. I have some more on the way though. We got medium, large, extra large, all coming in. We've got hats, sweatshirts, beanies, all that stuff on its way.
Great.
Yeah, this is exciting. This is great. We've got it all out there in the cave right now.
And you're pulling out all stops. You're making deals for people that you like. If you like the way they part their hair, then you're going to give them a better price than if you don't like the way you part.
We have got deals to make you squeal. We've got we've got everything out there. MC, I'm telling you, it is the day to stop by. If you're not at the Santa Cruz County Fair, you should stop by here and pick up your longevity products. Today is a day. It's happening out there right now.
You did Flight 1080 from Tuesday on, am I right? Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday?
We did Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the fairgrounds. It was great.
I tuned in. You guys sounded great. Even Billy Sunshine. Did anybody? Was it my imagination, or are people starting to like him?
Yeah, it's your imagination. Everybody hates him still. Actually, I think maybe next year we should have a KSCO dunking booth, and we could put Billy Sunshine out there. Then we can make some money. People will pay big money to do that.
Whatever it takes, we need to keep this place going. Thank you, Dave.
All right,
have a good
MZ.
one. You're going to be there at least until 2.
At least until 2, yes.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
I want to thank Richard McIntosh in Soquel for sharing with us the email of the letter to the editor that he sent to the Sentinel. Let the free market take care of bigoted radio hosts. Recent comments by on-air personalities made on a local radio station caused many of the local citizens to get upset, and understandably so. Bigotry goes against the values of the local community, the country, and local faiths. It got me thinking about the First Amendment rights. Initially, I thought we should get the FCC to review the broadcast license. Essentially, it comes down to, do we have the protection of freedom of speech or not? We do. When bigots are allowed to speak their own words, or their own words will provide their demise. The marketplace and karma will take care of the rest. And that's signed Richard McIntosh Soquel. And I believe that's the same Richard who sent me an email, and we had a nice little sparring here on the email. But thank you, Richard, for sharing that. Apparently it's in the Sentinel letters to the editor today. We have some other emails here before we go back to the phones. This from Andres. Just keep giving her rope, MZ. She's bound to hang herself sooner rather than later. Don't take her off the air. I can help you draft a disclaimer for before her show. I stand by the emails I sent you months before regarding her. Maybe increase her rates to cover a new insurance policy just in case Antifa comes to KSCO with clubs and torches. Okay, thank you, Andres. Billy Sunshine. MZ, Billy Sunshine is not only a regular co-host, but a way too regular caller. If a person is going to be a host, they ought to you ought to limit their calls or not have them or whatever. I am really tired of so much Billy Sunshine. Thanks to you and regards, Tom B. And then Richard, Holocaust. Richard Castile says, MZ, not only did Georgia allow the caller to insinuate that the Holocaust didn't happen, she stated that she has been investigating and left a question in listeners' mind that the Holocaust never happened. Her co-host, Smug Sam, mirrored her views and promoted everyone to go to David Duke's personal website. I appreciate your restraint and censorship, but these two need to go before KSCO becomes KNAZ. Keep up the great work. Okay, Richard, and here's Marcia. Anyone offended by anything Georgia says is way too thin-skinned sensitive. Georgia has always been respectful and correct. We are blessed to have our Constitution and freedom of speech. Free speech should come with courtesy and respect human nature, though sadly people have changed. Personally, I'm tired of this generation's poor vocabulary for using the F word in talking about politics, etc. Threatening assassination definitely crosses the line, of which is an arrestable offense. Otherwise, the line is pretty much the FCC able to stay on the air, which isn't an issue with online radio. And that's from Marcia. Thank you, Marcia. Okay, I think that's it for the emails now.
So we got a full board here.
Okay,
and, we should start the hour as well.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and do that officially here, so it feels right.
Oh, hello, darling. I hate to hang up on you, but I'm sorry, baby, but I have to go. It's time for that wonderful record show. I'd love to visit, but you'll have to call back. KSCO has the inside track.
We would love to hear from you. Call us. Become part of the program. 831-479-1080. Or you can email mz@ksco.com.
I'm sorry, baby, but I really gotta go to KSCO Radio. Bye.
And welcome to hour number 2. Take our next phone caller. That will be Steve in Pacific Grove. Steve, you're on the air. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, you'd be a great bartender if you decide to quit the radio business. Because you like
I might have to. I might be forced out. Like poor Roger Grigsby was forced out of his Ome business that he was an absentee owner of.
Hey, but can I make one point? A really close friend of mine was in the 82nd Airborne.
Yes.
And he fought all 5 campaign ribbons all through Europe from the landings, and the only thing that he glassed over was when he talked about the camps. And that's one of the reasons why I love you guys, because none of those people can call in. None of those people can give their view. Yeah. You can, knuckleheads, asshats, whatever. I love you, MZ. I know it's a love fest, but that's one of the reasons why he fought.
Steve, are you still there? Or
yeah, I'm just.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
All right. But you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do.
The only thing he get glassed over is when he went to the camps. And that's when he kind of gets choked up.
I still haven't seen that, but people I know who have seen it were never the same after they saw it. Okay? So, anyhow, thanks for calling 479-1080. Sure. Thanks for listening to KSCO and for the kind words. Aaron in Monterey about Compassion 4. But then there's, it says Compassion 4, and I think that was all they could put on the line. What do you have Compassion for?
That was going to be Compassion for Georgia.
Okay.
Oh gosh, this is so complex as usual. But at the beginning of the show, I think you were kind of trying to present an idea that you guys are about to get shut down or something.
No, not really.
Or
I mean,
there's a threat.
There have been for a long time. There are people who've tried to shut us down, but I think it's stronger than ever right now. That I believe.
Yeah, I would just caution you to not overreact to overreactions and to misunderstand misunderstandings.
Okay, that's good advice.
because I have not been a huge fan of Georgia. But first of all, I'm not left or right. And we got to look at this, MZ. If you want to save your station, you got to look at this left and right thing. It's mostly illusion. I think you have. So let me try to sum up what I think is happening here. Most of the world is going kind of left, because the left and right, first of all, is somewhat imaginary. There is no exact left or right for me to even want to join, from my perspective. They're both these weird, multiple different ideas on so many different things, and then it always has to come back to this, because our minds are simple. Like Rebecca Costa says, we're not evolved to where the problems we have. We have complex problems, and we keep looking at it simply. The masses are. There is a counterculture of forward people. I think you have some at your station. I think they're the futures. Rebecca Costa, I can't even tell what they are. They're ambiguous because they're open-minded. They're the future, but right now the millennials have future people like them. But the millennials are mostly, they've only been given this choice of right or left, and they're mostly going left. My hope is that everybody will be going neutral. There's some early adopters, and you have them at your station. They're the old guard. And even Alex Darnell, again, he doesn't really come off as left. He doesn't. I mean, and my other point was you come off as right, MZ.
Okay.
You do. And
yeah.
I would say if you want to save your station, you need to start kind of listening to things people are saying. It's really hard to explain, because if you're not seeing it, if you've fallen for this left-right thing, you just that's your glasses.
But honestly, I appreciate your saying that, and I'm going to argue with you respectfully.
Please do.
I have always, Aaron, resisted labels. I don't like labels. I'm who I am. And the Democrats and the Republicans, I have no use for either of them. I think they're all slimy, self-serving crooks. The ones that get into public office anyhow. And really, I have no use for any of them. So,
but the ideas.
I guess I have given you a reason to believe that I am more of a right winger than not.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I listen very carefully. I've been listening for years, and the ideas that you hang on to and react when somebody says something else are quite often the ones that the right has. Again, you said all the liberals have gone earlier in this conversation. I forgot what you said about them. But then again, that right when you say
the term liberal has come to mean something very just the 180 degrees different from what the word meant when I was growing up. That's what I said.
Well, I forgot,
and I believe that, and I think everybody would agree with that statement. Liberal. The term liberal is almost pejorative these days.
Yeah.
Liberals themselves don't like to label themselves liberals because it's taken on a negative connotation. They'd rather use the term progressive, right? Am I right?
Yeah, well, let me give you, I just thought of an example of something.
Okay.
When you do a little, one of your promo, commentaries, it's quite often the same thing that the right is talking about. You know what I mean? It has to do, like, you're kind of against the immigration or whatever. So it's like it's very complicated, and your station should be talking about
I'm against illegal immigration, but I don't even remember doing an editorial about that. And it's very commentaries are something that my mom used to do at least one a week. And since she became unable to do that, and obviously since she passed earlier, in January of this year, just after the first of the year, there have been no K's commentaries. There's been a call for us to bring back, classic K's commentaries that we have literally hundreds of, and maybe in the thousands. Probably not in the thousands, but we do have hundreds of K's commentaries that a lot of people have said that we should do. And I played one at the beginning of the Saturday special last week, as a matter of fact. But I haven't done. It's very rare that I do a commentary or an editorial. I have to feel really strongly about something for me to do that, and I feel really strongly about free speech. I really do.
Yeah, well, maybe you're not hearing me on it, but something to think about. And I also, before I want to go, I wanted to just say about Georgia. Well, first, somebody earlier said that you were not being contradictory, and I agreed with him. I was like, what the guy said about MZ is true now. Then when you said you would fire Georgia if she said the Holocaust
not just Georgia, but anybody. If I hear
Right.
if I hear any of my hosts say that the Holocaust did not happen, I want no part of that person ever again.
Well,
That's true.
I got
That's
it.
how
And
strongly
that's-
I feel about that.
No, I hear you.
So maybe I am a hypocrite. If that's something, because that's my line, and there might be other lines too that I haven't thought about yet. But I came up with that today, or actually probably last night when I read a long, very thoughtful letter from an articulate person that was emailed to me.
So I thought when you said that was a little hypocritical. But then now I'm going to give you a possibility of how to get out of that. Would be, I looked at what George has been saying. And the other day when she came on after she almost left, I listened closely, and she kind of jumped the shark for me. I've been listening to her for a long time. When she said that basically she tracked this whole thing why she thinks white people are in danger and there's a white genocide to, it's kind of a conspiracy thing. The way I understood it, it's to this guy that was involved with the Rothschilds, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm saying look at Georgia with compassion, just like she is believing some kind of story. And so it's like,
I believe a lot of what Georgia says is right on.
Some of it
about
maybe.
about the whiteys being under attack. I believe that. Absolutely.
Well, they're under attack possibly in certain ways, but they're not under attack in every way that you or Georgia might think probably too, because there is a lot of paranoia and fear going on. So all I'm saying is she kind of, when she spelled out to me her evidence, it just didn't look, it was almost like the guy that thinks Stephen King killed John Lennon. I don't think that's why, for instance, there's a lot of brown people in America, not because some Austrian guy is trying to get rid of white people, because we've been involved with Mexico for a long, long time, et cetera, et cetera. It's just we need to slow down and look at this complex stuff. And I've taken up too much time, but I was going to say, don't fire her. That would be ironic. Don't get mad at her if she says the Holocaust didn't happen. Have compassion and go, she's probably somehow gotten some kind of strange misunderstanding. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Don't react to her overreaction.
Okay.
I love you, MZ.
Good point. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
All right.
I owe an apology to Roger Grigsby, the owner of Ome Restaurant, who sent an email just a little bit. He said, "You're lying again, MZ," in the comment line. I was not and am not an absentee owner. And yes, I did earlier in this conversation, characterize Roger obviously incorrectly, and I apologize to Roger and to anybody else who I might have offended. I consider myself an absentee owner, and I do a radio show on KSCO, the Saturday special that we're doing right now. So that's what I meant by absentee owner, and obviously I'm wrong because Roger took offense at that, and I told him in a reply email that I would take care of that and I would deal with that situation here. Roger has sent another email and said, "But will you correct all the other lies you've told about me and the good times? Will you mention that you've never actually named the diverse European American peoples in a respectful manner? I've never heard you do that." Roger, why don't you just call in and let's have a discussion on the radio now, 479-1080. Let's just do that. We can talk about all that and get it all out, okay? I'm more than happy to do that. I hope you'll take me up on that, okay? Aaron Wayne, hey Michael, listening now as I always do on Saturdays. Unless you're not there, you are very fair, and I support you in your efforts to prevent censorship. But did I hear you say that if someone is a Holocaust denier, then you would shut them down? Isn't that in opposition to free speech? Aaron, I guess we've already dealt with this, right? Is this a different Aaron? Is this a different Aaron who went round and round with me a little while ago? Okay, and whom I thanked for pointing out an inconsistency? Or is it just another Aaron? It's a coincidence? Whatever. I meant for Roger Grigsby to call 479-1080, and we will I will certainly engage in a civil discussion with him about things that I have said to the Good Times about him. I've said I don't care for him particularly because he pings me, because years ago he pinged me with a lot of uncomfortable stuff that I wasn't interested in, about how Israel is bad and how the Jews are bad and how the Jews run the world. Or maybe I misunderstood what he wanted me. I asked him to stop and he wouldn't stop, so I blocked his cell phone. But now I'm not blocking his access to KSCO. I want him to call 479-1080 and talk to me and talk to our listeners. And I'm not gonna talk over him or anything. I'm gonna give him bend over backwards to give him the time that he wants here. So let's see, back to the phone lines. I'm going to say take next, and that would be the person who's been waiting the longest. Take next. That would be Mary in Santa Cruz. Thanks for waiting, Mary. You're on KSCO.
Good morning, MZ.
Hi.
Good coverage this morning, and when it comes to Georgia, and I know you've been getting a lot of responses about Georgia, and her delivery is what it is on the radio, only because in this town, the deck is so stacked against her. And she's sort of like your KSCO's little Ann Coulter. She
right.
That's
true.
She has to swing hard because of what he's up against. If you Google any socialist movement in this town, I tried the other day, because this is what she and Sam do. They invite people to get information, and nobody remembers that. Everybody is invited to get their own information. Some of the people just don't care to listen. So here's the deal. You Google anti-socialism in Santa Cruz, and all you get is the pro-socialist groups. So the political atmosphere in this town requires that Georgia speaks the way she does. If it offends people, that's too bad. It has to. She's trying to punch through a huge bubble of very strongly protected leftist attitude in this town, which you came up against when you tried to build your house. And that was because of Agenda 21. Agenda 21 was getting a foothold in this town when you were building your house. And nobody recognizes the fact that Agenda 21 has been coming into this county for 40 years, telling people what color to paint their house, how many windows they can have in their house. It made you angry. I'm a native Santa Cruzan. It makes me very angry. But Georgia calls it, and she gets slammed. Georgia's calling it, and she's getting slammed. It's not fair. And you are giving her the opportunity, and all this stuff about her quitting, she got discouraged. She's a fighter, and we need fighters, because this is what's happened to our town. And your radio station, are the only ones giving people a voice to say no. We have to say no. We don't want it. As long as we can, we need to say no. We want our property rights. We're sick and tired of ever-rising property taxes. As an old person, I won't be able to live here because of Agenda 21, because of corrupt politics. These are the things that she's crying out against. And people are going, well, she doesn't say it nicely. Well, you can't say it nicely because it's an ugly fact. And you yourself proved it factually when you said, I couldn't build my house the way I wanted to build my house. I had to spend my money the way they told me to. And for most Americans, that should be infuriating. It should make us red hot mad, and she's mad for most of us here who care. I don't want to be told what I can do with my hard-earned money, but that's what they want to do. And people aren't believing it. That's a conspiracy? No, it's not. You just proved it. 30 years ago, you couldn't do what you wanted with your own house. So back to this, the last caller, let's be nice, let's be ambiguous, let's be neutral. Let's not believe in anything. We have to believe in something, and we have to fight for it. And Georgia fights for it. So the negative
Do you know Georgia personally? Do you know Georgia personally?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Boy, has she ever asked you to be a guest host for her? Because I think you'd be great. You're a great Georgia advocate.
Well, the last lady I tried to call in, and nobody called in because the lines light up. Because she's a treasure in this town, and she and her husband have both fought fearlessly against local governments just to do projects. I know this.
Yeah.
And
I know that too, and I have great regard and respect for that.
I would stand back. I would have given up long ago when both of them just kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting.
Uh-huh.
And this is what we need: is a fighter. And fighters offend people because they have an objective. And the last caller, I'm sorry, but we can't be neutral. We can't be comfortable. We don't live in a comfortable time. We just can't. And you are providing us the opportunity, MZ, right now. I'm able to talk to this county that I grew up in that's so sadly going to a place where you go to a county meeting and you ask questions, and they don't care about your questions. They're just sitting there putting in their time, collecting their $100,000, $200,000 paycheck just to follow a program that none of us voted about, and people just don't know. And Georgia's getting the truth out there. She's a town crier. And the left that comes up against her, the first thing you do with an enemy is shut them up. So she's not going to shut up. She says she's not going to shut up. You're going to give her a voice. And God bless you, MZ.
Well, thank you. What can I say? I appreciate your call. Michael Folk says, careful referring to Georgia's racist speech in a left versus right context actually supports the premise that the right is racist and the left is not. Okay, thank you, Michael Folk. I recognize that name as a thorn in poor Georgia's side, and a little bit in mine too, but that's okay. I mean, it's cool. Bert Clayton, no, that's for Critical Health News. Roger Grigsby has responded. It says you're lying again. I don't know if it's not regarding, so I think he says I'm lying again. And I won't call. I invited Roger to call and have a nice civil discussion. Roger says, I won't call. Why not? Because the very terminology you are using right now is incredibly biased. Also because I'm more of a, quote, text guy, unquote, and like to take time to think about what I say carefully and necessarily slowly. This is usually not possible on live radio. Okay, Roger, I will respect that. Again, if you change your mind, the offer is there. You've been on the radio before. You used to call, I wouldn't say frequently, but you called enough, and were a guest in the studio, a time or two, many years back. Larry O'Neill sends an email. Michael, I support Georgia. I do not think she's a Holocaust denier. She is too intelligent for that. Go, Michael, and go KSCO. Have a great day now. Walk to the Ferry Building and get some good vegetables. Stay healthy, Larry. That's exactly what I'm going to do with a very impotent person here who happens to be at KSCO World Headquarters, KSCO SF World Headquarters. And, perhaps more about that later. The world famous Ferry Building Saturday farmers market, at the Ferry Building. It's about a 20-minute walk from where I am, and I love to do it after the Saturday special when I'm here, because it goes on right up until 2 o'clock, right there at the Ferry Building. You know where all the ferries are. So anyhow, thank you very much from Larry who supports Georgia. And let's go back to the phone lines now. Okay, take next. Oh my God, Alexia in Los Gatos has been waiting 37 minutes?
Hi, I've just been hanging in the car listening to everybody else, so thanks.
Well, you're on now. Thank you for waiting so long. Appreciate it.
I didn't realize it was that long either. But it has been enjoyable to listen to everybody else. But I just wanted to say that I have not heard, I don't always listen to Georgia, but she is one radio host that prompted my first ever and maybe my only email to a radio station, to your station, because it wasn't about the Holocaust, but I heard her on the subject of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. I heard her agreeing with somebody else that never happened. One of her
Alex
callers,
Jones, maybe? Oh, Jesus, really?
No, it was a caller who called up, and this was quite some time back. It might even have been a couple of years. But somebody called up and was saying that never happened. That whole thing was a hoax. That Obama, staged that whole thing as part of his, anti-gun conspiracy thing. And I was appalled, hearing her say that, because, that's a matter of historical public record. I mean, that's something that happened, and it's so disrespectful to the families of all those children, and to other people who have been harmed in shootings, and just
that cost Alex Jones.
In the government, and so that's just one, and then the other thing that I've heard her. Sorry, to say.
Yeah, well, let me just say, I'm sorry. Let me get this in while I'm thinking about it. Alex Jones lost a huge amount of credibility that he had gathered, because he's an amazing media personality. And, I recognized that, years ago in 2008 or 2009 when our high-priced consultant put my nose in Alex Jones. He just said, this guy's amazing. You pay attention. He's going places. And he did, and he has gone places. He did, I'm sure, have an effect on the election of Donald Trump to the presidency, as did Michael Savage. Trump was I believe at least 4, 5, 6 times a guest on the Michael Savage show during the campaign, and I know that he was a guest once for sure on the Alex Jones show. But yeah, when someone makes a statement like that, like Sandy Hook didn't happen, or it was a stage thing, or like the moon landing didn't happen, it was a stage, it's craziness. And why don't I get as upset when I hear something like, I suppose the Sandy Hook thing should affect me the same way that hearing someone say the Holocaust didn't happen should affect me, even though I was not directly, it wasn't one of my children, or I wasn't a direct relative to one of the people who lost their lives, or to my knowledge, I don't have friends or relatives who are even connected. That's just very offensive. Anyhow, go ahead, Alexia. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, but I was just thinking, that obviously you can't hear everything that every caller ever says on a show, and whether or not the host is agreeing it or giving them a forum for saying those things. But when it's not a matter of a left-right thing, it's not a matter of a viewpoint or an opinion or political. It's an actual falsehood, that's being spread in order to promote some kind of anti-government agenda or something. That's kind of like getting into weird territory. And then the other thing that I've heard her do a lot is spread falsehoods and rumors about vaccinations. And I just feel like it's really irresponsible. And, she straight up encourages parents, doesn't just encourage them to not vaccinate their children. She warns them not to. And so I think, if you're not going to have, I think she's her own worst enemy, to be honest, because if there are local issues that she's trying to get somewhere with, and that she has people that she's a voice for, I think she's shooting herself and all those people in the foot by taking these kinds of stands and promoting these kinds of rumors and fearful ideas. But, I think if you're not going to be able to, if you don't want to silence her, and I'm not saying you should, I think you need to recognize, though, it concerns me to hear people say, well, that's an opinion, and everybody who's listening is free to fact check it. Well, people are not going to. They're not going to have, like, and you're not really able to provide balance. So you're maybe providing her a platform and a voice, but you're not able to really balance that. And so maybe
in the
disclaimer, like that somebody else mentioned, with all I was going to say is, I think maybe
we need to use our disclaimer. We need to use our disclaimer more, or maybe rewrite it and make it stronger. So that reminds me. One of the writers, one of the reporters of the Good Times article that hit this week on Wednesday called me for a follow-up. His name was Jake, and during that, it must have been a 20-minute phone call or something like that. He pointed out how he was frustrated that false information is given. I said, please give me an example. And he said that it was stated on George's program, and I think he said Sam, the co-host, said that Good Times is owned by Bill Gates, and that the Santa Cruz Sentinel is owned by Bill Gates, and I actually heard him say that, and I said, oh, that's interesting. I figured, yeah, Bill Gates has sort of bought everything. He's bought MSNBC or whatever. But I didn't question it. But according to the Good Times person, he says no, it's Bill Gates doesn't own the Good Times. It's owned by a guy named Dan Polcrano, who's a local guy who went to school at UCSC and who called. And I should have known that, because Dan Polcrano called me a few years ago when their cartoonist DeCinzo did a very offensive thing with Obama dressed in a Superman suit, destroying KSCO and with a Nazi, with a swastika, and that offended a lot of people. I'm sure people will remember that. So yeah, that got past me, and that was a very good example of a radio program on my station, where hosts put out incorrect information. And the Sentinel is not owned by Bill Gates either. Okay? And so, I don't want to be a party to any of that. But we can't police all that. When people know that, they should call the program and try to get it corrected that way. Anyhow, thank you very much, Alexia, for your thoughtful call to the Saturday special. And if you're on hold now, we've got 15 minutes left. I promise I'm going to get to each one of you. So thanks again, Alexia. Here goes our next caller, John in Monterey. You're on, John. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you, Michael. Good show. In the 90s, talk radio in San Francisco was robust. Yeah. Now, the three-letter former gorilla sounds like romper room for Dr. Spock babies who never grew up. It's completely terrible. And, I've learned people, the human race, they're more like bats without.
What happened to you? Oh, my God. He waited so long, and then he got disconnected. And I did not even accidentally press hang up. All right. Maybe he'll call back. Jan in San Lorenzo Valley, you're on. Jan, are you there? Okay, take next. Next caller is John and Marina.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, yeah, John, you're on here. I don't know. I was worried for a second that something had happened to our system, but if you can hear me, I can hear you, and you're on.
I can hear you well. Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very disturbed what I hear on Georgia's show, and yes, okay. I do call her on at least once a week, maybe every couple weeks, and try to address those issues. Most of the time, I'm hung up on. She's called me a communist and hung up on me. So as far as a racist goes, he is not. But yes, I talked to her yesterday about the Charlotte incident and her denial that Nazis were involved. And I kept on using the term Nazis as the protesters, and I even brought evidence of that of who the organizations were that set it up. And I brought up the subject of the night before, whenever they had the torch-bearing march, and they were yelling blood and soil, and Jews will not take us over. I think I got that term right. And she goes, yes. She agreed with that statement. And I said, but aren't Jews white? And she would not answer that question. She would just say, well, Jews consider themselves something else. As far as the Holocaust thing, I have not heard it. I have deep suspicions that she is, because it was brought up about David Duke and his association with the Holocaust deniers, and she just fervently will not accept that David Duke is anywhere but a positive influence. And I think what this shows is you as a station owner. This is not your views, and I know that, but you're providing the platform for this. You're providing the platform where it's a constant that no minorities have any benefit to this United States. And I know you, Michael. I've listened to you for many years. That is not your opinion. But is over and over.
Well, there are a lot of things you hear on KSCO that are not my opinion. I've just been struggling with the question that was asked to me yesterday from the Good Times reporter and from a lot of other people, including my high-priced consultant. He says, "Well, what isn't there a line? Is there? Do you not have any line at all? That a person there's no line for a person to cross before you won't support them anymore?" And I've been thinking a lot about that. And yeah, the only one I've come up with thus far is if the Holocaust denier is a line that I will not allow to be crossed and be a party to by even owning the station that has a host that believes that. Yep.
But
that's
Michael,
true. And if you want to call me a hypocrite, go ahead. I'm a hypocrite. Okay.
No, I wouldn't call you a hypocrite.
Well, somebody else suggested that, and they're right. I'm not going to take issue. I'm not going to argue with them. Yeah, for anybody to say that the Holocaust didn't happen, it's the most offensive. I can't think of there probably is. I can't think of something that would be a more offensive statement to me right now than that statement.
Well, yeah. I remember her one statement yesterday was that she wasn't anti-Semitic, that she doesn't hate the Jews. She just has problems, and if I get the term wrong, please apologize.
I don't know. I wasn't listening. I didn't get to listen to any of George's show yesterday.
Yeah, you need to, but she defended the attacks on the Jews that control the United States. And
okay. All right, listen, John, I promise that everybody who's on hold can get on before the end, and we only have 10 minutes. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it, okay? Here's Colonel Terry about Smart Wing. Go ahead, Terry, you're on.
Look, the left wing is lunatic, and the right wing is ridiculous to the extreme. Their extreme positions are both curring to far fringes of both logic and thought and information. Therefore, the smart wing, as you and I have discussed, is informed accurately about issues and focuses on, with good analysis, what's best for America, for example, on contemporary political issues. Massive immigration, as some on the left wing are pushing, open borders, is ridiculous from a statistical point of view, from an historical lessons learned. The right wing to reject the scientific evidence of human activity and burning fossil fuels in particular impacting our climate, as is proven, that is lunatic on the right wing. So the smart wing is the one that you should advocate, or at least, MC, allow some participation.
Oh no, we don't want anybody. We don't want anybody from Smart. Terry, for years you've heard that we don't allow stupid people to listen. We've always been doing that.
But sometimes both extremes are not correct.
Well, I agree
the left and right wing are both wrong about different things.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for calling KSCO at 479-1080. Pat in Santa Cruz, you're on. Talk to me, Pat.
Hey, MZ.
Hi, Pat. It's population, Pat. Haven't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah. When somebody tells me I can't question something, I automatically want to know about it.
Okay. So, I presume you're talking about the Holocaust. There's a lot of stuff for you to find, and an increasing number of things for you to find that says the Holocaust didn't happen. So, go for it. What the heck?
Okay. So are you saying that people are welcome to question the Holocaust along with anything? I think
sure,
anything.
Sure. I'm always saying, who the hell am I? Who the hell am I to be the arbiter of thought? I've been asked if there's any line that can be crossed by a host on KSCO where I would stop supporting them, and I came up with that particular line. If a host if a host advocates that the Holocaust didn't happen, they lost my support and they're off of KSCO. And that's just the way it is. That doesn't mean that they can't, especially in this age, go on some other radio station or forget radio stations altogether and do a podcast. And if they're any good, people will find their way to the podcast. They don't need me. They don't need KSCO.
I've never in my whole life heard a debate about the Holocaust on a radio station in my entire life. Not one. All I've heard is you can't question it.
Well, just now, for me on this show, right?
Well, you and everybody else.
That I won't support people. Okay.
You and everybody else, MZ, whether it's left wing, right wing, or however you want to call it. I've never heard a discussion of the Holocaust, pro and con. I've just heard it's religious.
I think some people might be in favor. I can't imagine people being in favor of the Holocaust, but I'm sure there are, and maybe we should think about that. Maybe we should think about that.
I was raised religious. You don't question God. God is a given. You're going to go to hell if you question God. Well, I question the existence of God, and I'm an atheist. I now realize why you can't question God, because God can't hold up to scrutiny.
Okay.
Are you an atheist, MC?
No.
Are you an atheist?
No.
I'm curious, MC. Are you an atheist?
No, I said no.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you.
Oh. Okay, listen, Pat. I'd love to. I wish you would have called earlier, but I got to go. Here, Marcella in Salinas, you're on.
Thank you, MZ. We need to get beyond whether someone believes in the Holocaust and learn from the lessons of the Holocaust. And what came out of the Holocaust was the Nuremberg Code and the right to medical informed consent. Now, in this day and age, we have medical Nazis, medical vaccine pushers, and that Alexia lady who called in and criticized Georgia for being against vaccination. You should have questioned her about her conflicts of interest, because these people who push the vaccines know zilch about all the children that are damaged. The flu shot now, it just came out, but you won't hear this in the mainstream media, causes between 8 times and 47 times the number of miscarriages. The Gardasil is killing girls. There's organizations in all these countries.
The information needs to get out. The information, and we do our part. I hope you'll agree with that, Marcella. For people to hear both sides and then let them make their own decision,
But some of the people on your programs like Friedman and the flight SB-280, some of those guys are so ignorant they don't bother to do any research, and it's painful to hear their ridiculing of parents who just want choices. And California, last thing, should be a sanctuary state, but it should be for vaccine choice. That is so important. Thank you for letting me talk. Bye.
Thank you, Marcella. Very passionate lady, and I'm so happy she called in today. Mike in Santa Cruz, about new listeners. You're on the air on KSCO.
Hey, Mike. Okay.
Hi. Speak up a little bit, okay? I can barely hear you.
All right. Hold on just a second. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, much better. Good.
Okay. So, have you guys thought about some of your talk shows? Some of the hosts using social media and posting a call-in number behind them for things like Periscope, Twitter, different things like that,
to
get a cross-section of listener base across the continental United States, getting that new influx of people from all ends of the spectrum, from the ones that hate you to the ones that are newly interested and possibly even like a AAA number, just the banner with the KSCO area code and call-in number. So when somebody's flashing something like a live Periscope,
that's a great idea. That's a great idea. There's so many obvious ideas that that technology makes available to us for free these days, and we just haven't taken advantage. Thank you for calling with that suggestion. We're going to do our best. Appreciate it. Nick Clifford says, challenge this caller on vaccine injury. That's the subject line. You know better, right? Actually, Nick, I don't. I believe that a lot of children have been injured by vaccines. Yes, I do believe that. Marcel is the last person I would challenge, but we're not going to stop people from calling in and saying vaccines are good and that they do a much greater good for society than harm. If I had a kid, I don't think I would vaccinate the kid. How about that? Okay. Let's see. Vaccines. Rory. Long opposed vaccinations for my children due to adversity. Okay. Oh, God. There's just too much here because I made a promise that anybody who called. Oh, my God. I've only got one. We're going to have to go into the news. Right. And how do I get back to the phone? Oh, and we only have Cecilia, and I guess we have Jan. Okay, go ahead, Cecilia and Ben Lomond, you're on.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I have been listening to Georgia faithfully for a while now. At first I thought she was a maniac, but I became more convinced of the veracity of some of her arguments when I did independent research, and also listening to my daughter who went to a school in San Francisco, a university, and came back saying, Mom, you won't believe the cultural Marxism going on there. And I voted for, I would have voted for Bernie, and, if I could have. That's where I came from initially. And as far as the march in Charlottesville of those white identitarian guys, and I do believe maybe there were a few KKK people coming in at the very last moment to stand in front of the cameras, but white identitarianism is very different. They're more akin to black nationalists like the Nation of Islam, only for white people. They just want their own self-determination and their own identity, and maybe even like you would think Black Panthers. What they were chanting had nothing to do with Jews. They were not saying Jews can't take us over. What they were saying is you, Y-O-U, you will not replace us. And this goes out to you, John and Marina, because you've called several times telling that to Georgia, and she's arguing with you because she's trying to get, but she hasn't specifically quoted, and this is the quote, you will not replace us, addressed to the people who wanted to take down the statues. The Black Lives Matter, the Antifa people, and the white identitarians are feeling like you want to breed us out, you want to have us hate ourselves, you want us to erase our history, and you want to replace us in our own country, and you will not replace us. That was the chant. Mm-hmm. That's all I have to say. And also, no, as far as Georgia talking about David Duke, I listened to her yesterday too, and she was saying about him denying the Holocaust. She said something like, I don't know about that. I'm talking about what he is saying about speaking up for the white race. And that is all George is all about. And he's saying, if you think that he is against the Holocaust or whatever, she said, go
that's
and
what Georgia
investigate
is
yourself.
about. That I haven't heard anybody else, any other host, local, regional, or national, be an advocate for. So yeah, I grant you that.
White people, really? Well, I guess the independent media that I listen to, there's a lot of people that are identifying the problems, especially people reporting out of Europe.
Okay, great. Well, you've
because
educated me.
That's where I opened my eyes, MZ, is I started going on YouTube and looking at not the official media coming out of, the government stations or whatever, but independent news people coming out of Sweden.
God, I wish we had another
Swedish.
hour. There are so many things I want to get to. We didn't get to the 2 YouTube things that I wanted you to play, Jason, either. Oh, God. This is about Israel. Do you like Israel or do you hate Israel, or are you neutral on Israel? I don't know too many people who are neutral. You either like Israel or you hate Israel. And
I think he feels great for Israelis. Are you talking to me still?
No, well, I know you're still on the line. I'm talking to everybody here,
see.
and I've got an eye on the clock here, and we're 2 minutes into the news. But anyhow, Cecilia, thanks for calling. I appreciate your call to the Saturday special here. And okay, go ahead, Jan, real quick. You're back. Yeah.
MZ, your mother was an outstanding woman, and they tried to get her off the air because of the things. Have you read her book lately? You need to, she was a very strong, powerful woman. Now, Georgia reminds me of her, and she is very strong.
I know
powerful.
Georgia liked my mom very much also,
Yes, and you need to defend her. Billy Sunshine has said so many disgusting things. I've called him on it a few times, and I can't stand to listen to him.
What things are you talking about? What specifically?
I can't pull them up right now, but he's called people some ugly, really terrible names.
Hold on a second. Billy.
Yeah.
Jan says you've called people some very disgusting, ugly things, which you can't remember.
She's
you remember
mistaken.
Some things?
She's mistaken about that. But you know what, MZ? We don't allow free speech on our radio, because the toughest thing about my week is listening to Georgia, and then I'm not allowed to respond to her when I have the microphone. Will you give me permission to respond to Georgia and the disgusting things she says?
Are you talking about the Rosemary's rule about?
Yes, I sure am.
About hosts not sniping at each other on the air. Is that what you're talking about?
It would be fine if it wasn't so very horrible what she says. I don't have to snipe with everybody else, but I got to tell you, not being able to respond to Georgia and the horrible things she says about Jews and everything else, it's impossible. It's so frustrating. You need to give me permission to respond to her.
This is ridiculous. Billy is just off the line here. Georgia is your best show on the air, and please don't let the left destroy KSCO. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you, Jan, and thank you, Billy, and thank you all for listening today. We're going to have to do a program about is Israel the Antichrist, or is Israel the savior of our country?
Can I still not respond to Georgia?
Do that. Oh, geez. Billy, let's do this privately, okay?
Okay. All right, buddy.
Okay, let's just do that. Take care.
Give me a call.
Billy. Okay, fine. Now, oh, God, it just doesn't stop. Hey, help me out here. Jason, are you there?
Yes.
How do I get rid of... Okay, I think I just did it now. We don't have any phones, and we've blown through the CBS fake news anyhow, haven't we?
Yep, and the Boll and Branch.
And the Boll and Branch.
Commercials.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't you just play the That's All, folks, and then we're done till next week.
Good show.
Hey, well, at least it was a show.
That's all, folks.
KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. Here is not the news, because we're past the news. Here's Jason, and here's Dr. Biles, I guess. Okay, take care.
Thank you.